on.
Two, with the bases loaded and one out. Oh, it got deep to right field, way up there and way out. Second and walk-off home run. Grand slam, Braves homer.
It's been a decided game.
Fourth and goal.
Here's Iverson. Lou the defender. Stays right where Allen wants to go. Wants the baseline. Fade away. Yeah. He's way too good. He steps around Lou and drilled it. And the Sixers have scored 9 in a row. 7 straight points by Iverson. Looked like he was out the way. The Sixers by 4.
And we are live here once again on the Sports Skillet radio show. We want to thank you for joining us each and every week. We appreciate it. We want to remind you to also check us out on our social media channels, including Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, the whole 9 yards. We are all over the place. We want to also thank the Heat Ratio for hosting us. And check out the Heat Ratio for all the great programming. They got a lot of great shows on there as well. So thank you to the Heat Ratio for hosting us. And again, check out sportsskillerradio.com for all the latest news, show updates, great articles by Mike Nebbia. We've got it all right there. Sportsskillerradio.com is your place to go for all the latest sports news, show updates, and everything like that. We appreciate you checking us out. As I said, we do this each and every week. I am Jay. I'm joined this week by my brother Jeff, Mike Nebbia, and as always, we love to have the coach Shane McGowan joining us. Shane, can you let everybody know how they can check you out on your social media accounts?
Yeah, you can reach me at mentaledgeperformance.ca as well as mental_edge_performance. Gentlemen, how are we this weekend?
We are doing well. I think we're doing a little bit better than you, Shane, because at least my team has a head coach.
Don't go there.
I'm a Raiders. I'm a Raider fan, and I expect everything to happen with my Raiders once a year. Something always goes down. So, I mean, unfortunately, this one is one of those ones that's a real kick in the old AS. S, you know what I mean? So,
oh, yeah.
But like I said, you know what? I still expect them to come out and play this weekend. I expect them to do what they got to do. And I do think that their interim coach that they have is a very respected man who's been around long enough and everything there too. So I'm not really necessarily worried about how he's going to coach them. I'm just, like I said, but it is a team that has to pull together to get through this as they move forward this year.
Now, the emails that came out that John Gruden sent, obviously we're talking about John Gruden here to lead off the show. The emails that got sent out, obviously, Shane, he deserved to be let go by the Raiders because you can't use that kind of language referring to the players' union rep, other people as well. I mean, just the language.
Let's put it this way. I was on air this week with some other fellas and with NFL Live and everybody like that. Was of saying 2011 when a lot of this started happening. We would look and say, listen, in a locker room and as a coach, that type of stuff you could not even remotely say at this particular time anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's stuff that's in the locker room. There's stuff said back then. And right or wrong, it was said, it was done, you moved on, etc. But again, like I said, we don't live in that era anymore. We are trying to make changes. We are moving forward with so many different changes, positive changes. And that's the thing that we lost track of. The problem, though, is that Gruden didn't quite stop in 2011. Okay, so we got to be clear about that. Some of it is still filtered as the years went on. And to me, like I said, that's on him. That's showing who he is in some ways, which is unfortunate because, like I said, not only for himself, but I mean, again, for his family and for the organizations. Look at even for Tampa Bay Buccaneers when he did win a Super Bowl championship there. You know what I mean? You've tarnished, you've scarred a lot of different things. Now, will he ever change the way that he is? That's up to him in certain things. People pretty much a split on that of saying yes and no. You know what I mean? But the bottom line is that we live in a different era now. And it doesn't matter what sport. And this is the thing that was brought up this week too, is saying how many other sports do you think that may come out with something of their own dirty laundry that was said many, many years ago too, with high profile. And right now, I'll say this is a very big domino effect here in the NFL. And it's pretty interesting of how good old Dan over there in Washington has decided to redirect by making today a very important day for one of their past players, a bit of a memorial in that way, to deflect once again what he does best at answering these questions of these emails. Because I was brought up there's like over 600,000 emails that were transferred from different things. You know what I mean? That he still has to answer to, but he's trying to make it, again, what he does best, deflect everything to somewhere else.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the question that I got asked a lot this week is, do you think that John Gruden's career is over? I said that his coaching career is probably over. I don't see him being able to go in front of a locker room, in front of a group of men, or even kids, on the collegiate level and being able to coach them again. But I said his media career might get revived a few years down the road because if he has a good PR person behind him, that they put him through the spin cycle, have him go through sensitivity training and all that, and then put out all these PR messages about Gruden being hypersensitive now and apologizing, and that, maybe down the road, years from now, not next year or the following year necessarily, but maybe like 4 or 5 years down the road, once he goes through this spin cycle, that PR folks would put him through that. Maybe then he would get picked up by a network or something like that as a analyst or something like that. So I don't necessarily see his media career being over, but I do see his coaching career probably coming to an end. What do you think, Shane?
That one's been brought up too, because like I said, this is going to take a lot longer than many feel, because depending on what he does, how he chooses to move in a direction as well, right? Meaning that You're right. Are you going to, what network also willing to take that risk? You know what I mean? In some way. Now, I'm not saying that maybe down the road that he actually might even be on radio. I mean, maybe he is going to be on a Sirius or an ESPN radio type of format type of thing too, right? There is those possibilities. But again, too, is you still got to clear your name in some ways of rectifying and saying, I made these mistakes. I understand. I have to own up to it, but I also got to better myself. And that's something where you got to look at. And again, I mean, he can if he chooses to do that. But again, it's up to him and the direction. I think right now, John Gruden is probably going to do a and do a little bit of a hiatus, hide for a little while, clear the air, because the problem is until everything is settled, and that's including with the Washington and everybody like this, he's still in the mix. You know what I mean? Yeah. So until all this stuff gets settled, there's not much that he can do to rectify to get himself, moving forward either. And that's another thing too.
And my big issue too that I have right now is John Gruden felt comfortable enough within this circle of people that he was emailing. Now, a lot of them were to the former Washington football team president, but he also emailed some other people as well that he felt comfortable within this group of people to email them. What I think and what a lot of people are calling for, Shane, is for the NFL to release the entire group of emails, not necessarily just the John Gruden emails, but the entirety, like the replies. What did these people reply back to John Gruden?
If they replied back.
Right.
That's right. If they replied back, but you have all these 650,000 or plus emails. What did they reply back to John Gruden? Release all the emails, because there's a whole mess of emails that they haven't released, specifically cheerleaders are calling for the emails to be released. So what about the rest?
But here's the thing, Jay. The problem right now is that we are in week 6 of the NFL. You start opening up this can that they're trying to do. How is this going to affect every other team and certain things too, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be. I'm not saying that we should not get to the bottom of this, because we have to. I'm just do we wait till the off season to get to the bottom of this and make those rectified changes and start holding accountability for people that were involved. Yeah. That's a thing. So I agree with everything of saying, okay, the NFL needs to get the job done, everything like that, get involved, do this. But I'm just saying is that this is a domino effect. And if it stops at John Gruden, then you're wrong. It's going to go a lot of teams, a lot of people, a lot of higher ups. And I think this is what's worrying a lot. They're saying, let's just finish this season. Let's get this over with. And then let's see where we go after that too. So I think it's kind of a mixed bag in some of this ways. But I agree. We have to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, we got to get to the bottom of this. And to build off of what you said, Shane, if they start doing this now, there's going to be a lot of fallout from the rest of the league, because there's 31 other teams besides the Raiders that want to see the John Gruden emails. There's like 600,000 of those emails, and what John Gruden did is inexcusable. His coaching career is down the tubes. His media career, I'm not so sure about that. And if I'm to liken this to anything, it's a Kyle Larson incident tenfold, maybe even 100-fold at this point.
Maybe. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, his career is over. His meager, I think it's, on life support. We'll just have to see what happens. I mean, to speculate right now on his future will be ludicrous at this point. I think, we have to, allow the NFL to get to the bottom of this. I agree with Shane. Do it in the off season. Don't do it now. Because if you do it now, your entire NFL season is going to be overshadowed. Nobody's going to care about who wins the Super Bowl. Nobody's going to care about the season, because everybody's going to get involved in this scandal. Everybody's going to be, teams are going to have to fire a lot of coaches. A lot of personnel are going to be fired. And this is going to be, one of the biggest black clouds the NFL has ever seen. So just do it in the off season and wait till then. And let your season play out, so at least you can have a semblance of a season.
This is an even bigger black cloud in sports than Astrosgate.
You think so, Jeff? Or do you think
right.
Yeah. I tend to agree, too, because I think there is going to be definitely there's going to be more fallout coming from this, because I think they will eventually have to I think the public will eventually clamor enough that the NFL will have to release more of the emails that have come out, and I do think that it will affect more than just the Las Vegas Raiders.
Bucking the driver nearly saying Oakland Raiders. Oh, dang it!
Yeah, I caught myself before I said it. But
I told myself one of these days it was going to happen, and it happened.
Yep. But we did have a game on Thursday night. The Eagles faced off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and of course Tampa Bay won the game rather easily over the Philadelphia Eagles. Jeff, we'll go to you. Start out with you on this one. Did we learn anything from the Philadelphia Eagles during this game? Did we learn anything about the Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts?
No. What we learned about Jalen Hurts is we still don't know about Jalen Hurts because the Eagles, don't run the football. So we don't really know exactly right now. The game plan obviously is screwed up because the Eagles have one of the worst coaches in the league right now, and apparently, it's amateur hour right now with the Eagles. So the Eagles right now could possibly be one of the worst teams in the NFL. Period. Right now in terms of from the top down. So they've got a lot of work to do. Do they have a quarterback? Who knows? What is their defense? Who knows? What is their head coach? Who knows? There's this team right now is a literal train wreck right now as far as this organization goes. And congratulations to Zach Ertz on being traded to the Arizona Cardinals and getting a get out of jail free card and moving now to one of the best teams in the NFL. So congratulations to him because you know what? I know he's all sad and everything, but please, come on. Come on. I mean, you're moving to one of the best teams in the NFL. Please don't give me all the tears and the sobbing and all that because you're leaving one of the biggest, Zach Ertz, get real. You're leaving one of the biggest train wrecks in the NFL to go to one of the best teams in the NFL, and you're crying and you're sobbing about it. Man, I would have been on the first plane. My underwear couldn't catch up with me fast enough to get out of Philly right now. That's how bad that freaking organization is right now. So, congratulations to Zach Ertz.
So let me ask you just to go off of that there, Jeff. Let me ask you this. Why did they wait and play him when they know he wouldn't be eligible to play now for the Cardinals? Why did they play him that night and risk an injury happening, right? That to me is still surprising on both sides of why you knew you're being traded. You know you're going. Why then play you? And I mean, risk an injury because if he gets injured, that trade's off the table. That trade's done. Like it's not going to happen. But to me, that was the most kind of, I don't know if I want to say selfish or most disrespectful or what it was. In that way,
shady,
and
coach.
you blow him and you'll now disqualify him from being able to play for the Cardinals this weekend when they're having coaches all in COVID protocol right now too. You need some extra help out there, tight end position as well.
Yeah, coach, it's shady dealings.
And by the way, this from Ron. Give Hurts another year. This QB draft stinks. Go offensive line, defensive line, and linebacker in round one. What do you think about that, Jay?
Say that one more time, Jeff.
It says give Hurts another year.
I said from Ron. Give Hurts another year. This QB draft stinks. Go offensive line, defensive line, and linebacker in round one.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. I don't think right now this offensive game plan is utter garbage from what you're getting from the offensive side of the ball. The defense isn't much better either. I think the defensive game plan is utter garbage as well. You're not. I don't see the head coach improving Jalen Hurts at all. You're not giving him like the easiest thing for a young quarterback is to hand the ball off occasionally. Just and I don't want to hear this RPO garbage that the head coach Nick Sirianni is spewing out at his press conference because that's not a called run. A called run is putting the running back in the backfield behind the quarterback or next to the quarterback, what have you. Have the quarterback come up under center and just hand the ball off to the running back. That is a running play. All right. Whether you want to run them behind the center and the guard or the guard and the tackle, whatever you want to do, just call a design run play. And this coach, Nick Sirianni, apparently has an I don't know. Whatever you want to call it, just does not call these design run plays. And you got to call them every once in a while just to give your quarterback a breather during the game and to keep the opposing defense honest. These opposing defenses are coming up, are not playing the run at all because they know what's coming. I mean, it's just absolutely moronic. Go ahead, Coach.
No, you're absolutely correct. Look at you. Your coach there is playing pass heavy. All right, simple. He is pass heavy. You guys actually have quite a very good running back in Miles Sanders. Let's be honest. He has the talent. He's made a lot of things happen. And if you can keep feeding him the ball, he will make some things work for him. You know what I mean? There's no question about it. I wouldn't want to change that necessarily in that way. But the problem is, again, you're right. They have not given themselves an opportunity to win with offensive linemen in the mix, playing up to par. They haven't given themselves enough on the defense either. So this is where you're struggling big time. Hurts, because we got Watson comments coming up here where we're afraid we're going to trade. You guys are going to trade for Watson and everything like that. So my thing is that Jalen is getting tunnel visioned, and he is trying to just make sure he doesn't make the wrong mistakes, the wrong reads, and he's holding on to that ball and just running for his life, because that's what, if you flashback, Lamar Jackson would do many, many times. Yep. The problem is now Lamar has trusted the rest of his team. Lamar has taken upon himself to trust everyone he's got around him, even when his O-line breaks down, to at least keep them in the mix. To go to time, you lose, but at least give you a winning chance. Hurts hasn't done that. And Miles Sanders, I got a feeling, is going to be getting a little frustrated as time goes on if he's not going to get fed this ball like he should, because he is a reliable back out there. Yes, you've got a talented young receiver out there. No question he's going to have a phenomenal season and years to move on, but you can't keep running the deep route if your quarterback is constantly scrambling for his life. So like I said, come trade time, come picks and everything like that, they're going to have to get an offensive line, just what Kansas City did. They went and rebuilt an offensive line to make sure that Mahomes does not have to scramble for his life again either. Now, it's going to have to gel. There's no question about it. But at least they're making those right moves. So I got another thing that's come up too, and I just found the other day, is that Cam Newton's still in the mix a little bit because he's getting himself vaccinated.
Yeah, I mean, people forget that Cam Newton is still out there. He's a free agent. Any team can go out and sign Cam Newton. Now, you know, we can all debate about how good he may be. You know, Patriots ended up releasing him, but I mean, he's still working out. Probably, if he gets vaccinated, he'll become a quarterback on the market that teams may have to take a look at if they want a quarterback. Obviously, but
so
yeah. Go ahead, Shane.
The other problem on your Eagles is let's throw this out. Those Flacco, you know, who's had veteran status and everything like that. You know what I mean? How are these two gelling in helping one another? How is Flacco helping Hurts, or is Flacco just sitting there collecting his paycheck? You know what I mean? In some ways too, right?
That's a good point.
Because I mean, really, when you see these quarterbacks for most teams that have a veteran, but the rookie is taking over, or second-year guy, whatever, is taking over, there is communication back and forth and things like this too. And you hear about it. Right now, like I said, you're not hearing much out of that other than the fact that Jalen is just scrambling, and it's Jalen, and Jalen's going to lose this. But you hear nothing about Flacco and stuff in some ways. So I don't know if they're just keeping it very hush-hush under the table, what's going on behind there and closed doors. But I just curious about that situation, because I think this team is starting to crumble, and it's crumbling pretty fast and bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's a question about how much longer with the losses starting to pile up, especially in key games, marquee matchups, and the offense not having much of a game plan at all. It's a question of how much longer these veteran players are going to continue to listen to Nick Sirianni and his dog mentality. You know, I can't imagine they're going to stick it out for too much longer, as these marquee losses. I mean, you know, when you have a loss in a standalone game and you're not really competitive until the fourth quarter, when literally the game is just about over. I mean, it's a question about how much longer they're going to continue to listen to the rookie head coach. And that's another thing. A lot of times when you have a rookie head coach, normally the team will reach out and bring in some veteran coaching for some leadership, some guys who can come in and kind of lead the head coach, that have some head coaching ability that have been a head coach before, and the Eagles did none of that for Nick Sirianni. It's a whole rookie roster of coaches that are on this team, and that can be problematic too for Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles, that they don't have any of this veteran coaching leadership on the roster. So it could be rough going for the Philadelphia Eagles. But Jeff mentioned it. Zach Ertz gets traded on Friday to the Arizona Cardinals, goes into the NFC Western Division. Now the Cardinals bolster their roster with the pickup of Zach Ertz. Obviously, he's probably not going to be playing today, but he'll be playing on the Arizona Cardinals next game. Coach, I'll go to you. How big of a pickup do you think this is for the Arizona Cardinals?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, first off, Ertz right now hasn't been playing bad at all for the Eagles for the time he's in and everything like this too. He, when you think about it, I can't remember the exact number on the stats of the snap counts and everything like that, but he's had his share out there, which has made huge dividends. Right now, for Arizona, who's down a tight end and everything, it makes perfect sense. It's a great fit, but it all gives him another opportunity to go to a championship too. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's a huge opportunity, and I do believe he's going to make the most of it. I do think Kyle Murray is going to be very comfortable with Ertz on what he can do, veteran status, everything like that. So yeah, it's a win for that organization and for Ertz in this way too. But for the Eagles, like I said, what they're going to be getting in return, I mean, again, you start looking at all these things that they're picking up. It's going to be draft picks here, another second, third person coming in on defense and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you're looking at a team that's rebuilding. You're looking at a team that either says, okay, let's just flush this down the toilet and let's start and let's do this. All right.
Yeah.
Instead of playing this little piece like this of people. I mean, you got to be like the Browns almost. You got to just say, okay, we got the draft picks, we got everything. Let's just go with it. We know we're in trouble, but let's build this thing into which we get finally a franchise that is going to be competitive in the weakest division that there is and make something happen.
Yep. And Jeff, Zach Ertz going into the NFC West to battle your 49ers.
Well, they're not battling my 49ers. Let's be honest, Jay. The 49ers right now are going to be probably one of the worst teams right now in the league right now. I mean, they're probably down to their third-string quarterback now. So, no, they're not battling my 49ers. They're battling the Rams, but they're not battling my 49ers. So you got to get the team straight there. How is Zach Ertz going to affect that battle? Because it's really a two-team battle because Seattle right now is, without Russell Wilson. So, they're basically done. So the 49ers are done. The Seahawks are basically toast. So now it's really just a two-team race out west. So it's going to be a battle. I mean, there's no question about that. Zach Ertz, gives another weapon out there in Arizona, another target, and that should make those battles with the Rams really must-see TV when you get those battles between the Rams and the Cardinals, because I can't see one of those teams is going to win the division, the other's going and others getting a wild card.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to beat up. They're just going to beat up on the 49ers and Seahawks. In terms of that. So. That's just the way this division is playing out for the season. But yeah, it helps out Arizona, no question about it.
Yeah, what did you think of the trade, Mike?
I don't think that was a pretty good trade, but it's going to help out the Cardinals immensely. And to build off of what Jeff said earlier, Eagles are just a train wreck right now. So props to Zach Ertz for just getting the heck out of Philadelphia.
I completely agree with what Jeff said. Eagles are a train wreck at this point. We're still going to watch them and everything, but Sirianni has to improve his play calling. and it's going to be the Dallas Goedert show at tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles going forward. So, so we'll have.
Is it really? Because if Jalen doesn't throw the ball, it's nobody's show.
So
that's true. Because it's not going to be a handoff with the Philadelphia Eagles. You know that.
But let's put it this way. Let's stay with the Eagles for a quick second. Do you see him on the hot seat? We see these coaches on the hot seat as we keep moving forward here. Like look at the Bears coach. He's always on the hot seat, right?
Yep.
He's like, you got Myers, you got all these coaches that are on hot seats. Does this one just accelerate if they can't start winning and winning especially in this division?
Well, I think Jalen Hurts is definitely on the hot seat. The Eagles, even before the season began, were reluctant to name him as their starting quarterback or their franchise quarterback. Sirianni, I would say it depends on how well his play calling improves the rest of the season. If he starts running the ball a little bit more, maybe he can survive. But I think there's going to be this groundswell of fire Nick Sirianni as we go along, and it's going to get more and more if he doesn't call more running plays and just sticks with these RPOs that he has, because he's not.
Look. We're all getting around the issue here. We're all talking about Sirianni. We're talking about the quarterback. The real issue in the Eagles organization right now that stinks is Howie Roseman. That's the issue. That's the guy right now that's, put this thing together. That's a guy who should be on the chopping block. So Jeffrey Lurie will never, ever get rid of this guy. And as long as that guy is in the Eagles organization, look, you fumbled your way into a Super Bowl victory. Okay, congratulations, to Harry Roseman. He's got the ring on his finger. Congratulate. They bumbled with Nick Foles. They made a great run in the playoffs. They beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Congratulations, to Harry Roseman. He's got that ring on his finger. He looks at it every morning. But you know what? Right now, the Eagles stink, and it stinks from the head down. It stinks from the head down. You got to go for the head first, and that's where the stink is really happening here. You can blame the quarterback. Yeah, you can blame that coach, but really, it's Howie Roseman that's put this thing all together, and he deserves to be the one to go.
Yep. No, I agree with you. Definitely, you have to look at Howie Roseman. Absolutely, Jeff. I completely agree with you. Speaking of Philadelphia teams, Ben Simmons returned to Philadelphia, knocked on the door. I was surprised to the Philadelphia 76ers management because they weren't expecting him back. And all of a sudden he comes texting Daryl Morey, can you let me in? And apparently he's back in Philadelphia with the NBA season ready to get underway this coming week. Jeff, what do you think the Sixers will do with Ben Simmons? Do you think they play him? Do you think he gets on the floor? Do you think they come out with a mysterious injury that prevents him from playing? What do you think about the Ben Simmons situation in Philadelphia?
This is just, a saga that just won't end. I mean, it's like a bad headache because this guy just, they need to part ways. I mean, I think there's no question about it. We've been saying this for a while. It's toxic is what it's become. I think Shane can speak to this more as, a mental coach, mental game coach, and the fact that, it's now in his head, really. I mean, all this stuff is really floating around in his head, and he's got this huge, I want to say, his head is just swelled, so big at this point because he feels he's a lot better than he actually is. I mean, that's really the problem. And that's, and he has a lot of people feeding into his ego that's just feeding and propagating him more and more and more. And that's a toxic mix when you get right down to it. And that's creating the situation he has right now. You have your great feed. Okay, great. But now, you have friction, you have things starting to happen with the players and Ben Simmons, the organization and Ben Simmons. I mean, this is just something that and you have the general manager who wants to get a treasure trove, it appears, for Ben Simmons, when everybody will tell you that Ben Simmons is not worth what the Sixers are asking for him. So until that price comes down, until they say, okay, we're going to trade him for a bag of balls, that's what it. The Sixers are going to have to are going to have this mess on their hands. There's no question about it.
Yeah, what do you think, Shane?
Oh, well, Jeff nailed it. I mean, his ego and his narcissist attitude has taken over, in which he blames everybody else but himself. The immaturity is a big one for him too, in that way. And you're right. When it comes to the higher ups there who think that they can get, so much for him, they're terribly wrong. I mean, there's no question about it. Right now, you should just be looking at saying, listen, we can function without Ben Simmons. All right. We can get rid of him and get what we can of a decent player, right, that can sit on us on the bench if need be, or somebody that can actually start, but also look at what we can get for draft picks as well, too. You know what I mean? And just march on from there. You're going to have to cut your loss eventually. It's a matter of, do you do it sooner than later? And this is the problem that the Sixers seem to have. They always want to do things later. They think that they can all of a sudden create a phenomenal superstar in Ben Simmons in this way. Just because the man played a decent year of defense doesn't make him a superstar caliber type of a player. And this is the problem. He's not multi-talented in that way. He can't play offense and defense. You know what I mean? He really can't. And so you got to figure out, what are you going to do? Who is out there and who can we, swaggle? Look, even if you got to sweeten the pot a little bit. Let's say you got to throw in Simmons and another player off that bench in there to sweeten the pot, to bring back somebody that can start for you. They can do that. I guarantee you somebody out there will take him, and maybe, you might have to cut a little bit of the cap of what you're still owing and paying on him too. But the problem is you do have people out there that will take him. I just don't see this fit working any longer. I really don't. No. I think it's too toxic, like you've said before, Jeff. And I think that if they don't do it now, it's going to bite them, and they need to take care of this ASAP.
And what do you think about
Ben Simmons? I think it's addition by subtraction. I think, that's what it really comes down to right now, is that the Sixers are better just by getting rid of Ben Simmons and subtracting Ben Simmons and getting whatever they get for him and going from there. That's, my opinion.
And what do you think, Mike?
Addition by subtraction. And the Sixers are asking for a king's ransom for Simmons when he hasn't done much. 3 first-round picks? No, absolutely not. A first, a second, and a prospect? I'll do that, but 3 firsts? No, absolutely not. No, not for Simmons.
No, I completely agree with you, Mike. The asking price right now for a guy who plays, he plays stellar defense. I will not take anything away from Ben Simmons being a facilitator and playing excellent defense. But for a league that is going more and more and more towards shooters and prides itself on shooting, that's not what we saw in the playoffs last year. And that got him vilified in Philadelphia, the fact that he will not shoot the ball at all, that didn't take the dunk, and that now he would not allow his teammates to fly out and visit him, that basically shut off everything from Philadelphia. Now it's kind of crawling back when the Sixers refused to pay him and everything, and now he's trying to get back on the court. Well, that kind of works both ways, because if he's going to improve his trade value, he's got to get onto the court. The problem is, I believe that the Philadelphia fan base has turned on him entirely. Like, the Philadelphia fan base and the Philadelphia 76ers and the people around him have coddled him throughout his career, be it collegiate or be it pro, thus far. And now the Philadelphia fan base has turned on him completely because of what he pulled in this offseason. And Now I think he's going to go back on the court eventually to try and improve his trade value, and the Sixers will probably put him out there so that they can try to get something more for him, and he's just going to get booed off the court. I mean, there might be a smattering of people.
That's Philadelphia for you, man.
Oh, yeah. But we also have another head. But, Jeff, we also have another headache in Brooklyn with Kyrie Irving.
Freaking Irving.
Yes.
Get yourself vaccinated, Kyrie. It's not that difficult. Get the freaking prick.
Exactly, Mike.
Take a page out of my playbook. Just put on some Taylor Swift. That's what I did when I got my pricks.
There you go. Anything, just get the vaccine. But apparently, Kyrie won't get the vaccine.
Kyrie Irving, if you're listening, just take a page out of my playbook, okay?
There you go. Absolutely, won't get the vaccine, and because of that, because of the New York law that was enacted, cannot play or practice within New York, and the Knicks are.
He'll be on the court on Tuesday. Hey Jay. Guess what? He'll be on the court Tuesday in Milwaukee. So there you go with that. So when they play the Bucks, to open up the NBA season, he'll be on the court because the game's in Milwaukee.
Well, no. Apparently, the Brooklyn Nets have put out something that said if you're only going to play after the season, we don't want you. You're not going to play for us. So the Knicks are taking a hardline stance with Kyrie and saying you're not.
Knicks.
Nets.
Yep. Brooklyn Nets are taking a hardline stance with Kyrie and saying, no, you're not.
Well, they're doing that now. They're doing that now, but I guarantee you, a couple losses here, and I guarantee you, you'll be seeing him on the road. Believe me, you'll be seeing Kyrie playing on the road.
You think the Knicks will? You think the Nets will soften their stance, Jeff?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. I mean, they need Kyrie. I mean, let's be honest. Kevin Durant is going to look at this and say, you know what? Yeah, you know what? Half the games is better than none. If I can get half the games with Kyrie, that's better than no games without Kyrie.
I don't know. I think they're taking this hardline stance. I don't think they're going to relent because they would have had it because the Brooklyn management.
I think Kyrie relents first.
My theory is they would have had to talk to Kevin Durant and James Harden before they took this stance and had a conference with those two guys saying, hey, if we take this stance, what do you think about it? And the two of them probably gave their blessing on it. So to me, it looks like they're going to take this hardline stance until Kyrie gets vaccinated. What do you think, Coach?
Well, I mean, again, Kyrie is one of those ones that will stick to his guns as well. I mean, he's got the money. It's not he's suffering or anything like that. Does he trade? Do they trade him? Do they possibly move him? In some way where he then could play.
I don't know.
You don't know. Maybe he asked for it. I don't know. I mean, there's lots of things that can happen in this next little bit, and again too is. The bottom line comes that it's his choice, right? It's his choice of this, and unless they are allowed to allow it, like Jeff is saying, play half the games, which will be on the road and things like that, and that's it. But from what I was told this week through our good friend there, Mark Jackson, as we did a little NBA podcast thing. New York is sticking to their guns too of saying you cannot come into the facility, you cannot practice, you cannot do anything, even though he had it all set up that he was going to do this on his own, practice on his own, everything like this until game time.
I bet he has his own practice court. I wouldn't put it past.
Of course he does. He's got a house that's got a basketball court. I mean, the thing is monstrous. You know what I mean? He's
got this thing all worked out. He had this thing all worked out. Sure. Yes.
He knew what he was doing going into this. So it just comes down to how much are they going to flip it and say, well, you know what, New York, you either buckle or you don't. And if you're not going to buckle, then you're going to look and say, are we going to keep paying this guy, or do we have to trade him to get somebody that can help? Because now you got to look on the other side of it too with Durant and Harden. When it comes to are they prepared to play the full season? which could be very demanding, as well as injuries that could happen, etc. Who do they have coming off the bench to fill in their roles, and so on and so on. There's a lot that's going to be transpiring here, when it comes to, as they like to say, let's have a little game management. You know what I mean? I need my days off. I need this, and this. That may not be happening for these guys at this particular time. If they got to still stay on that court, loaded up and everything like this. So it's going to be a real pickle out there for those guys, man. I'll tell you that much, because like I said, there's a lot on their shoulders, especially for a team that was now at the beginning put on the Vegas list of saying you're the team to beat out east. You're the team that should be winning this. And now with Kyrie and now with all this other stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the Lakers more to take this whole series anyways next season. What are you thinking there, Jeff?
Well, I'll tell you what right now, Shane, when you look at the East, or you look at this, if you're Kevin Durant right now, you have to be kind of foaming at the mouth to get back, Milwaukee, after that, overtime loss that they had, in the playoffs last year. So, that, Kevin Durant wants to, Kevin Durant wants to win a championship. And my feeling is that they're going to need. I mean, they're going to need Kyrie if they're going to get all the way. Do they need him in the regular season? Probably not. I mean, they can probably settle for the 2 or the 3 seed. They can probably handle that if that's a direction they want to go, and they want to say, okay, look, we'll work this out. We'll get through this. And we'll just work our way through the regular season, because the regular season doesn't matter in the NBA quite frankly anymore. I've come to that conclusion that you have stars that are resting, players that kind of take the regular season for what it is, and then they kick it up in the in the postseason. So that's what the NBA really has become about. I mean, the money season is the postseason, and so whether the Nets say, you know what, hey, we'll live with whatever Kyrie gives. We know we have Durant. We know we have Harden, and we'll kind of work our way through the regular season. Because look, I mean, the Sixers finished first in the East last year, and what did it get them? It got them a second round exit. So to me, the regular season is what it is at this point, and teams right now are more focused. If they know they've got the talent, they know where they stand, and they're better than a lot of these other teams in their own conference. They'll just manage the regular season and then get on to the postseason.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. There's no question. I think whether you're 2, 3, 4 seed, you know what I mean, you're okay. You know what I mean? It's just get to what want to be the top 8 naturally. You know what I mean? And whether I'm playing Knicks or whether you're playing Atlanta, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You just got to make it into this realm of the top 8 like that. So you're right. I think overall they're going to be fine in that way. Injuries, take into effect, but I do think that they're going to be fine and stuff. And you're right. As the time goes on, there could be a possibility where they do get things worked out with Kyrie in that way. But I'm just saying right now, I think they got to look and say what we got to plan for without him, and we got to plan and figure out how we're going to keep moving forward as we truck along with this and stuff, and see where they go.
I really think Kyrie's going to buckle before the Nets buckle. Because he wants to get back on the court. Kyrie wants to get on the court. All the players in the NBA, they want to get on the court. Kyrie's no different. I think he buckles before the Nets even think about buckling.
I think so too, Mike. I'm agreeing with you there. I think Kyrie will eventually get vaccinated and return to the NBA.
Hopefully before the start of the regular season, but I doubt it.
I agree with you. I think Kyrie will miss some games, Mike, but I think he will eventually relent and get vaccinated. One thing we do on the show here is we give out our weekly 3-pack of picks here. Jeff, would you like to kick us off with your top 3 picks of the week?
Sure. I'm going to go with Kansas City this week. I think they're going to bounce back, get a win here. So I like the Kansas City Chiefs. I like the Rams, obviously, and I'm going to take Pittsburgh.
All right. Mike, who are your top 3 picks of the week?
I'm going to go Green Bay over Chicago.
Yeah.
I will go Arizona over Cleveland. And I will go Buffalo over Tennessee. And I'm not picking the Giants game again because I fear I am jinxing them.
Gotcha. You don't think the Giants have some issues there? That's why you're not picking them, right? Coach.
I'm the issue with the Giants.
Gotcha. Coach, who are your top 3 picks of the week?
Yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs. I'll take the Chiefs over Washington. I think it's going to be a Mahomes day myself. I'm going to take the Colts over the Texans. I think
really?
After last week, I think the Colts showed a very good dynamic offense when they played. I think they're a 10-point favorite too. So I'm gonna run with them for a little bit on this one too. And yes, I am taking the Rams to dismantle the Giants.
Yep, I'm with. I'll go along with some of you guys there. I am going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs over the Washington football team. The Rams over the New York Giants, and I will go with the Cincinnati Bengals over the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick there. I think that's a good pick.
You know, Lions have been playing a lot of teams tough. They just haven't been able to get over that hump yet. But I do like what I've seen so far out of the Cincinnati Bengals so far this season. I really do like kind of what I've seen. One game that's a marquee matchup this week I'd like to get your everybody's opinion on is the Chargers playing in Baltimore against the Ravens this week. Jeff, what do you think of this matchup?
It's a great matchup when you look at it. You know, I think Baltimore right now is, you know, probably, you know, the second, maybe, you know, third best team right now in the AFC. And the Chargers are right up there. So, I mean, they're both, you know, to me, top 5 right now. I mean, they're both playing very, very well.
Yeah.
You know, to pick this game, that's why I didn't really want to go out there and go on a limb with this particular game, because I see it as a pick-em. I really do. You know, because I think the Chargers actually could win this game and go there, because you know, Baltimore, to me, you know, look, you know, they got lucky, you know, to be honest with you, in that game last week. So, I mean, you know, to be honest, so they escaped. They got a win. Congratulations. But I like the way that Los Angeles team is playing out there in the Chargers. So, if I was to pick this game, I'd probably pick the LA Chargers in this.
Gotcha. What do you think about this game, Coach?
Yeah, no, I actually have the Chargers on that one. I think the Chargers are going to play. I think right now with Williams, Eckler, and Keenan Allen, just the way they are performing right now is top notch. But I think Justin Herbert is also, without a doubt, performing at a very high level that we're kind of underestimating a little bit. He's been key on his plays. He's running when he's got to, but he's been very ball controlled, which is what you want out of your quarterback right now. And I think if that defense can contain Lamar to a certain degree, I think they'll rattle him enough to which he's going to make some bad throw passes and then put the weight on his shoulders to have to run it. And I think they're going to be able to hold up on that and stop him at that line to not give him the yardage that he needs. So I don't think it's going to be a blowout game by all means. I think it's going to be a very close game. But I do think that the Chargers will pull this by at least a 3-pointer, possibly a touchdown. But I'd say at least by 3.
And what do you think about the game, Mike?
I'm going to have to go with the Chargers on this one for all the reasons that Shane says. I think the Chargers will be able to hold the line, and if they play their cards right, they can force Lamar Jackson into making throws that he doesn't want to.
Yep, I tend to agree with you guys. I like the Chargers in this one. Young up and coming team. They seem to have. It's going to be, but like I said, I would not be surprised at all to see the Ravens come away with a win. Like I said, it could be a pick'em game coming down the line. Jeff, we've got Major League Baseball. We got the Championship Series underway. What do you think about the game so far?
Well, let's take the American League first, since they're 2 games in versus 1 right now. And boy, this is a great series. I mean, when you look at, Boston came out obviously at 2 grand slams yesterday, putting the game away early. But Houston, was able to get a win in game 1. So. It's good. These offenses are very powerful. We're seeing that. The pitching, is not very good. We're going to see a ton of pitchers coming in and out. So if you're a fan of, starting pitchers going deep, you can forget about that in this American League series. I said this before. I like Boston. I think Cora is a tremendous manager. I think he's going to find a way to somehow get the Red Sox into the World Series, but Houston's going to put up a heck of a fight. I see this thing going, 6 games. It's going to go 5, obviously, but I see this thing going at least 6, possibly, 7 games. And there's going to be, like I said, watch out, because there's a ton of offense on both these teams that are going to light up the scoreboard. So they've already set the record for home runs in the first 2 games. So, so that series is going to be interesting. The other series, the National League Series, obviously, Atlanta obviously got another, walk-off win last night over the Dodgers. But they needed that because, today, obviously, the Dodgers come back with Scherzer. So you expect the Dodgers to come out today and get a win over Atlanta and knock that series up going back to LA. And assuming that happens, you could see, whether Atlanta can get, another game out of the Dodgers or, force, 6 games. The Dodgers are, the better team. But Atlanta's going to put up, just like Houston, going to put up a heck of a fight. So, these two series are compelling, for different reasons, because you got some pitching, obviously, on the National League side that could dominate the series, and on the other side, you got a lot of offense. So it's just going to be that kind of LCS. But I like Boston, and I do like the Dodgers.
Yep. What do you think, Mike?
I am liking Boston because I know Houston's going to cheat again. And I don't like cheaters. And I'm going to go with Los Angeles because Los Angeles is going to take one from Atlanta today.
Yeah.
And once the series shifts to Dodger Stadium, Dodgers are going to have the home crowd advantage. And I think they will sweep all 3 at Dodger Stadium. Now, if Atlanta can take 1 from the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium and force the 6th game, it would be on the Dodgers to take that 6th game and force the 7th back in LA.
Yeah. And how do you see the series shaping up, Coach?
Yeah, no, these guys all made the same points and stuff. I for the Dodgers to lose in Atlanta that first one, I wasn't surprised some ways that they played hard, but it was Atlanta. They took it. That's fine. But I think Dodgers come back and say, okay, you know what? We've got this. We're going home for 3. But I do think they want to take this one in Atlanta tonight and say, you know what? This is ours. And for a Boston game, that one, you're right, is going to slugfest. I think that's just going to be like even higher than what we've already seen so far, because I think they have the potential to do that, which is great in some ways. But I do think Boston is going to take that one too. But I'm not surprised to see a 6-5s or 7-6 type of scores as we move forward with that game. So, if you're a better out there on stuff, I'd be looking at that one for some high scoring. That's for damn sure.
Oh, definitely.
You know what's funny? It's funny seeing Joe Buck sitting there with John Smoltz trying to say, oh, here comes another pitcher out of the bullpen. Oh, look at it. We've used 10 pitchers in this game. I mean, you can just see, the reaction of Joe Buck, in these games, in this American League Series, seeing all these pitchers coming out of the bullpen.
Oh yeah, it's crazy, and it shows you how much the game has changed since Smoltz last pitched. It just shows you how much the game has changed. And yeah, I tend to agree with everybody here, with the panel here, because I do see the differences between the two series. I see Boston versus the Dodgers coming out of this one. I don't think Atlanta's going to have the offensive firepower to keep up with the LA Dodgers. I just don't see that. And I see Boston.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing they have to look at, Jay, for the future. That the Braves are doing this, and they're doing all this, and they're playing as well as they are without Ronald Acuna Jr. on their team, and without some of their better pitchers right now. We're out for the year. So if you look at this, the chasm that's developed between the Phillies and the Braves right now has just gotten wider, because this team is just going to be that much tougher to beat now in the coming season. So how in the heck are the Phillies going to be able to compete? It's going to be an interesting off season for the Phillies to try to say to themselves and scratch their head and say, gee, where are we in terms of this division? How are we going to compete?
Yeah, exactly. And they don't have the minor league talent to be able to call up to be able to compete with Atlanta. That's one of the things that's a problem with the Phillies organization. I know.
Well, Here's the thing. Where would the Phillies? You take Bryce Harper off that team, and where are the Phillies? Okay, that's similar to what happened to Atlanta. You take Ronald Acuna off that team, where is Atlanta? Atlanta right now is in the League Championship Series battling the Dodgers. Where would the Phillies be if they lost Bryce Harper?
Oh, they'd be down there with the Marlins. No question about it, because Bryce Harper kept the Phillies, literally took the Phillies, carried them on his back as far as he possibly could. But he's only one guy in that lineup. You didn't get a lot of offensive production out of JT Realmuto and a bunch of the other guys. I mean, some of the other guys surprised you, but it was basically the Bryce Harper show on the Phillies this season. And again, he's not going to have another. You wouldn't think he would have another season similar to the one that he just had, which has him in contention for the MVP award. You wouldn't think he could duplicate those numbers next year. He's probably going to come down off of that at least a little bit. So he's going to need more protection in that lineup. So it'll be interesting to see what Dombrowski does this offseason. In terms
and the same thing, by the way, and the same thing goes for your team up there in New York, Mike, and the New York Mets right now, because they're looking up at the Atlanta Braves as much as the Phillies are at this point, and they have to retool their entire organization.
Yep.
Please don't go there. Not enough this season.
Yep. So, Mike, what about what's going on with NASCAR?
Okay, we are now in the Eliminator 8 round, starting this week at Texas Motor Speedway. Tough, tricky mile and a half. Sister track to Charlotte Motor Speedway. And late word has come out that Chase Elliott has to go to the rear of the field, failing tech inspection twice. So this is going to be an uphill battle for him at a track that's not been particularly kind to him over his young NASCAR career. But I think he'll have a good finish. However, I believe that Kyle Busch will take things at Texas Motor Speedway. This is a track that has been good to Kyle Busch recently. He has won there in the past. I think he'll win there again today and claim his spot in the Championship 4.
Gotcha. Before we sign off, Jeff, Coach, Mike, any final words? Anything we didn't cover?
Where the race is today?
Just letting people, just want to let people know, obviously, that Jaguars lead Dolphins 17-13 going into the fourth quarter. So, that's an interesting score because, the Jaguars obviously looking to get out there tonight and get a win.
Score
the
update.
Dolphins, obviously, this is pretty.
Jeff, we have a score update. Miami 20, Jacksonville 17, fourth quarter. And I found where the
Good. So you see, like I said, this is a close game between these two clubs, and I'm telling you, Miami needs this win because they need to get on the board. They've lost since winning on the opening weekend. They've lost 3 or 4 straight. So they need a win, and obviously Jacksonville trying to get their first win of the year. So,
and I have found where race coverage is. Countdown the Green at 1:30. Race at 2. It'll be on NBC.
Gotcha. So that game is kind of important to the Philadelphia Eagles, as Eagles own Miami's first-round draft pick this year. So if you're an Eagles fan, you kind of want to root for Jacksonville to pull out the game so that the Eagles get a higher first-round draft pick. So that game does have Philadelphia Eagles connections to it. So. Coach, any final words?
No, I think, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see as we move forward this weekend on some of these games. I think we're going to get a couple of upsets, but I also think we're going to get some blowouts too. I also think next week you're going to start seeing how things are going to filter with these emails and everything like that too. A little bit of controversy there. Moving forward, the NBA, we're going to get some action happening, so it's going to be exciting times there, and as well as MLB, and we'll see how this all pans out as we move forward till next Sunday, gentlemen.
Yep, and Shane, one more time, how can people find you on your social media account?
Yeah, you can reach me at mentaledperformance.ca as well as on the social media at mental_edge_performance. Gentlemen, it's always been a slice.
Oh,
absolutely.
October 19th for the opening games of NBA. We'll have Mets Bucks at 7:30. Then Warriors Lakers at 10.
All right, there you go. Thanks.
And congratulations to the Seattle Kraken for their first win in franchise history.
Yes.
Yes, the Kraken the Kraken have been released. Yes. All right. We want to wish everybody a great weekend. And a reminder, check us out on sportskillerradio.com. all our social media channels, and we will see everybody again next week.
Stays right where Allen wants to go. Wants the baseline. Fade away. Yeah. He's way too good. He steps around Lou and drilled it. And the Sixers have scored